Hi, I'm Scott Schubert with Trading Mastermind, and today I'm going to show you how, whenever you're trading Forex or cryptocurrencies or commodities or gold, how you can know every single time the exact entry price for whenever you're going to enter a trade and exit a trade. So imagine that you're in an elite trading group, and in this group you're learning how to trade, and you already know that some of the other members have reported that they're getting results of something like 20% increase per month, or 50%, or even 100% increase per month. And by the way, these hypothetical scenarios are not typical results, because typical results are to fail and lose all your capital. But just imagine that you're in this group, and what would that be like? Because a lot of people have created in their mind a kind of a glamorous fantasy about what they think that it's like. So you go into this group, and then someone's calling out trades. Buy the euro dollar, 1.1449. Buy now. And everybody's getting in, getting out, then they're getting in and getting out, and they're getting profit, and everybody's going, woo-hoo, this is exciting. Well, that's not exactly what it's like in reality. Forex trading is kind of exciting, but it doesn't quite conform to that glamorous fantasy. So one thing that can definitely help you to get more aligned with reality so that you can use that in your trading is, and I'm surprised that more people don't do this, is to look at a chart. And when you're in the business of Forex trading, this is a very useful thing to do. So you look at a chart, and then you just notice how many times does the market form some kind of a turning point where it's going in one direction, and then it turns, then it goes in the other direction. And on any time frame, even short time frames, when does it actually do that? How many times does it actually form something that could result in profit? And also, just be aware from a basic common sense point of view, what has to happen for a person to enter a trade and then get profit from that trade? Well, in order for someone to enter a trade and get profit from that trade, the market would need to be going along in one direction and then turn, go in a different direction. And then that would have to be identifiable. Then it would have to follow through with that move. Like if it turned and then it didn't follow through, could you get profit from that? No, you couldn't get profit from that. Or if it's just always going in one direction and you just jumped in, well, we all probably know that if you applied that as a strategy from a common sense point of view, you would probably know by now that if something's just moving, you just got in, then it will probably reverse right after you get in. So logic would tell you that there is something that would have to happen in order to cause you to be able to get profit from a trade. So this is a basic common sense realization that has to be clear in your mind before you move forward. And it is surprising how a lot of people never quite get this basic common sense realization clear in their mind about what needs to happen in order for you to get profit from entering a trade. So when this happens, what specifically is it that happens? Is there some kind of a visual phenomenon that is identifiable and recognizable that has to happen in order to enter a trade? And then notice, when you look at a chart, how often does that happen? And how many times did that happen in the previous week? You might want to notice what time of day it happened and start to become aware of that. So let's say you're working with someone who is a trainer or a mentor, and then this phenomenon happens. And then they call out the entry price, 1.14499. how would that information be useful to you? Would you go and get in at that price? Would it be possible for you to enter at that price? Is there any way that you could use that information that would help you in your trading? Oh, so no, there's not. So that information is completely irrelevant. There's no way that you can get in at that price. So when is the best time to enter a trade, and at what price? The time to enter a trade is when you visually recognize that an entry has formed. And the price to enter is whatever price it is at that time. Now, this really needs to be clear because a lot of people don't have enough common sense to realize that that's true, and then what's happening is they're thinking about something that's not related to whether they're going to have profit in the trade or not, and that is the digits of the price. So here's what's most important and completely obvious that all traders need to know from day one is that the price to enter a trade is the price, whatever price it's at when you see an entry. And what specific digits there are is completely irrelevant. It's just random series of digits. Even thinking about that random series of digits is not just unproductive, it's actually a mental strategy that the subconscious mind may put up as a block to take your attention and put it on something that's just not related to whether you should enter a trade. And in the trading world, you can see that people are doing this all the time. They're taking their attention and they're putting it on things that aren't even related. Well, here's this thing, and they're looking at things. Well, here it comes up to this 200 moving average. All these things that they're looking at, and it may have nothing to do with whether there's an entry or not, but they're constantly putting their attention on it and thinking that there's some kind of a connection, and it almost becomes like a superstition. It's not even related. What does the random series of digits that happens to be the price have to do with anything? It doesn't have anything to do with it. So why would you even think about it? So one reason that so many people sign up to get trading signals or they look for proprietary indicators or software is because they don't really consider trading to be a business, and they don't really start off with the mindset that it's a skill that is worth putting in the time and effort to master. So people who start off with a mindset that this is a business and I plan to own a business, and the steps that I have to go through is first I have to gain this skill, which is a very unusual, rare skill that very few people get. After I develop that skill, then I will have a business. Most people consider trading some kind of a hope to get lucky kind of a gambling thing, and that's why it doesn't work, because first you have to develop a skill. After you have developed that skill, then you will be able to start having a business. Now, when you get involved in actually learning to read the market and mastering the business of trading, the process is completely different. First, you're going to learn certain principles that are true about the market, and you're going to discover that they're true, and this is part of how you read the market. The market really does form turning points that you can read, you can identify, and when the market is coming to a point where it's going to form a turning point, you see that coming for a long time in advance. No matter what time frame it's on, you see it coming before it actually happens. Then it gets to the point where it's actually starting to form, and then you make a decision. That's what trading is about making decisions and taking action. Even though you might misjudge something, you check all of the confirmation factors, you could still misjudge something, or you could be completely wrong, and you're okay with that, because if you have developed a skill, the skill is to be able to identify high probability turning points a high percentage of the time, not to be able to do it 100% of the time, but if you can do it a high percentage of the time, then you have mastered this business and you will have continual profit if you do that. So after some time of study and practice, you could get to the point where you may have mastered this skill and be able to enter trades with high probability that turn into profitable trades a high percentage of the time. So now that we're clear about what is the exact entry price that you should enter a trade in Forex or commodities or any other market, you're going to be one step closer to mastering this skill without having any ridiculous, nonsensical kind of beliefs. And now you understand that what you really want is to be able to totally master that skill, to be able to identify those turning points, to recognize entries, and whenever you see one, you will make a decision, you will enter a trade, and the exact entry price will be whatever random series of digits it happens to be at when you choose to click on your mouse. One step closer to actually mastering this lifetime skill that will enable you to own a Forex trading business or a trading business of any market, because it's about having that skill. And it is so common for people, all people, including myself, to have all kinds of limiting beliefs. And one of them is that, well, I don't actually believe that I could own a business, but maybe I could get a job with a managed fund. And that's one of the next things we could work on, that if you can change those limiting beliefs, you will realize that no matter how much capital you have available to start with, if you have that skill, then you will be able to achieve any kind of financial goal eventually. It's just a matter of how much time. Then if you don't have that skill, you will never be able to have any kind of job or business related to trading. You're welcome to enroll in our training program and see what it's really like and prove it to yourself. Okay, so that's all for now, and I'll see you in the next video.